It's Wednesday afternoon, and you know what that means. Ringside Heat is on the air on News Talk Saga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, as well as on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lex Tan, host and producer of this fine show here, and as well, we're joined by two of the ring crew here. We've got to the right side of the screen and to the, if you're watching on YouTube, right side of the screen here, Jose Tablada, director of digital content at Tablada93. And we've got at the bottom of our screen over here in the middle, right in front of our, right on top of the Ringside Heat social media, little blurb at the bottom there. He is our wrestling memorabilia expert at Coca Collects, Chico Nugent. Gentlemen, welcome to Wednesday afternoons, or at least I know, Jose, you were on Wednesday afternoon last week, but Chico, welcome to Wednesday afternoons.
Well, I thought with that introduction and giving my location on the screen, you were about to give latitude and longitude as well. I was waiting for, you just kept giving so many locations.
To be honest, Chico, I wouldn't have paid attention if he did give the latitude and longitude, because I just remembered that I had to go into my drawer and admire this beautiful shirt that says I was there.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's right.
I'm hijacking the show, but yes, Chico's right. Yeah, you should have given the latitude and longitude. Yeah, absolutely.
You survived Survivor Series with no riots. Good job.
Yay! We did. I've been in downtown Vancouver before, and anytime I'm downtown Toronto and downtown Vancouver, I always ask my buddy, "Where were the riots?" And I know where they are too, so I'm like, "Where were they?" Just to remind them of it. Where were they? Yeah, what a weekend. What a weekend, fellas. What a weekend.
So, for context, for those of you tuning in for the first time, Jose actually did get the chance to go to Vancouver, visit a buddy of his and his family, and he and his buddy attended Survivor Series 2024 WarGames at Rogers Arena in Vancouver. And what a time, and what a pay-per-view. Yes, and the shirt that he's holding up right now, WWE Survivor Series WarGames 2024, I was there. Beautiful, beautiful shirt. How much was that, by the way?
Enough. It is. Okay. So what I've noticed is I love collecting these I was there shirts because it's fun.
Yes.
I think it's a fun little bragging rights. Even though unfortunately somehow my WrestleMania 40 shirt already shrunk. Oh,
really?
It sucks. And WrestleMania 35 shirt shrunk quickly as well. So I can't even wear the two I was there shirts that I wanted to wear the most.
Oh, geez.
So I guess I should have got a bigger size the whole time. But I love getting these because I just thought of it recently that now if I ever have my own space or my own place, like I think at one point what I want to do is frame all of them that says I was there, because they're all going to have the dates on them, and then just hang them up and show which pay-per-views I was at, which is a lot of fun. And so if given that this is Wednesday afternoon, if you're one of the lucky people that has secured there's tickets to Elimination Chamber, as earlier this morning was the pre-sale for that in Toronto on March 1st, 2025. You can get your own shirt, and I'm hoping that I have gotten my ticket secured. If I didn't, then this whole thing that I'm saying right now will be very awkward live on Saga 960 AM at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, with the pre-sale in the way. But the main sale, folks, for the Toronto area is Friday at 10 a.m. on Ticketmaster.
Yeah, and you know what? Lots to look forward to for Elimination Chamber because of all the things that happened at Survivor Series WarGames and the 5 matches. Count them, all 5 matches that WWE gave us that night. On Saturday night were the women's WarGame match, which was Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley defeating the Judgment Day of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. 38 minutes and 15 seconds. Of course, accentuated by that huge spot there. Of course, Io Sky, the goddess of the skies, of the goddess of the skies. Am I correct?
The genius
of the skies. Well, she is quite the goddess herself, anyway, too. But man, a moonsault again from the top of that cage structure onto her opponents below, and then of course Tiffany Stratton doing a swan while wearing a garbage can.
Yes.
And
then the swanton by Tiffany at right after it. It was beautifully synced, one after the other.
Thankfully, I turned my phone landscape, and I caught the moment. I caught both of the moments. So because I had a really
Awesome.
great vantage point, which again we'll talk more into detail. But yeah, that was a brilliant spot. And I have thoughts on that match as well when we get it. I know we all do. Especially
Oh yeah.
apparently internet does as well.
Oh, of course. Oh, I'm
With
sure
that
they do.
match.
I'm sure they do. Yeah. So just running down the card over here. We'll get into a little bit more details later. Shinsuke Nakamura defeating LA Knight by pinfall in a 9-minute and 45 match. So Shinsuke Nakamura is your new WWE United States champion. Braun Breaker defeating Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser by pinfall for the Intercontinental Championship. That match was 14 minutes and 25 seconds. Gunther retains the championship, his World Heavyweight Championship, rather, defeating Damian Priest by technical submission, 19 minutes and 20 seconds, with a little bit of shenanigans and interference by one Finn Balor, and that's gonna a nice story that's brewing right now. And of course, the men's War Games match, 41 minutes and 55 seconds of wrestling. Roman Reigns, the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, Sami Zayn, CM Punk defeating the new bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed by pinfall. And it was, and yeah, again, a lot of storylines going on over there. Roman getting the pin over a Solo, and just. And just the way that all the stories are crafting together right now, leading up to the CM Punk's promo on Monday Night Raw to open up Monday Night Raw a couple of days after. So lots to talk about here today, including Jose's shenanigans over in Vancouver, if you want to call them shenanigans. But we're going to take a break here, and we will pay some bills and get some commercials going. This is Ringside Heat on Saga 960 AM. Back after these promotional considerations. But if we just walk away, we'll be giving in. Tell me I'm wrong, but if we just walk away, we'll be. And welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, and on YouTube. Lex Tan alongside Jose Tabuada, Chico Nugan. Triple threat here today for your listening pleasure on the radio. And Survivor Series War Games 2024, Vancouver, Rogers Arena. Let's get right into it. And let's start it off with the women's War Games match. Thoughts, dudes?
I was okay. So obviously my thoughts on the whole card is going to be completely different, given that I was there this past weekend.
Oh, for sure.
But and for what it's worth, I did look back at some of the content back on the network. When I got back to when I got back to my Airbnb, or even just now, still just a couple days removed. Just looking back to see. I thought the women's War Games match was fun the whole way through, but I understand when people may say it was a little slow. I guess looking back now, I kind of saw it, and in reality, yeah, I think it really did pick up when Rhea came in. I was joking around to these guys and to a lot of friends, saying that if Tiffany cashes in, then I want to be called Mr. Money in the Bank of Ringside Heat. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen. But although seeing two in 1 year still feels special, I can seeing two in person. I think that will not happen again unless I attend every event possible next year. What a missed opportunity. I think that's my takeaway from the whole thing. I expected Rhea's team to win. I expected the faces to take control here. Boy, I think with everybody saying that it was such a slow match, I think that would have been a great time to execute it. Maybe call an audible and say and make this happen. It was such a convincing moment, and I think even Corey on commentary said it best. What happens in this situation? What happens if it happens? And that's a great question, because last year we were asking ourselves the same thing before Randy Orton came out and interrupted Priest's cash-in moment. I wanted to see that question answered. I really did. I thought it would have been a unique and exciting way to put a twist on a Money in the Bank that's been done time and time again since 2005. So that was my only disappointment. But all in all, I think it was a fine match. I don't think it's a better War Games match of the night, but I thought it did its job at the end of the day.
Same time, at the same time, it was yeah, as you said, I totally agree that that was a moment right there that she had that choice to take out to get that money in the bank briefcase, cash it in. I mean, she brought it with her, obviously, but she had the opportunity to either cash it in on Liv or on Nia Jax, and of course, it would make more sense storyline wise for Nia to if she had cashed in on Nia. However, it would have been an interesting thing to see Tiffany cash in on Liv, and even though that would be a more out of out of nowhere kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so, but and obviously now everybody's asking, well, what do you do with the Money in the Bank briefcase now? And so my attention turns to Netflix's debut, with Raw's debut on Netflix in January. I think that would be the next big moment spot since all eyes are going to be on it anyway.
Mhm.
But no, I think with War Game, with especially with the men's War Games match that has branched out a lot of unique stories, I think in them, which we'll get to later.
Mhm.
That would have been a good one to branch out of this match. Tiffany's cashing on Nia. I don't see the point with Liv because I know Liv's got her own thing on Raw and the whole Raw SmackDown brand thing. If that's excuse me, if that's still the thing. So that would have been my direction for it. But yeah, I think it could have added the excitement that maybe people thought wasn't there at the end of
Mhm.
the day.
And for Chico, who coined the term brand split LOL, what do you got to say?
Yeah, well, I think they're going to be a little soft on the brand split over the next little while as they figure out their road to WrestleMania. But there's another event, boys, that's coming up in a week and a half, Saturday night's main event, that they're making out to be a pretty big one too. I don't necessarily think a cash in would happen there, but you never know.
Right.
It is one of those things that they only do once in a while at this point, and so they have brought it out, and they have a pretty dang good card going, which we could talk about another time, or maybe next week or later. But back to the women's War Games match, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts about it because to me, it didn't really move the needle that much. Um, Coming in, I thought, oh, compared to the how much we're spoiled with storylines blending in within the men's War Games match. The women's War Games match seemed to me to be a little bit cobbled together, like a lot of, um, well, there were some connections, right, on both sides and across the bow on both teams and brands, but it was a lot of putting people together for the sake of having a 5-on-5. That it
Yeah.
felt more like that for the women's match. For instance, I mean, they made light of it in the promos, but yeah, I mean, like, why would Bianca be teaming up with not only Io Sky but also Bailey, right? I mean, they didn't breathe much. They had like so many grudges over the last 2 years between those three people. Also Bailey and Io being a little
Especially
fresher.
Bailey.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but then yeah, Bianca's been hating on them for like 2 years. So for them to have teamed up, I guess like they had common enemies and whatnot. But hey, you know what? You send the people home happy with a riptide off of the top in the corner. It at least puts a nice exclamation point on the match.
Mhm.
Even if they, I guess, as you say, miss the opportunity to do a cash in spot. Um, I think they can save that for something else. But yeah, of course, it would have been exciting. And it would have been like, okay, this is their chance to be creative with not just the cash in gimmick, but the War Games gimmick too. Because I suppose if she gets the pinfall after cashing in, she would win the War Games match for her team also, or no, because had they not all been in there yet? I don't remember. Anyway,
Everybody was inside already.
so she could have won it then with that too, I guess.
I didn't even think about that. Would it be
Mhm.
a
Right?
was is that a first 2-in-1 victory if that would have happened?
It would have been, yeah. It would have
It
If they
been.
counts for
split the decisions, like I don't know how that would even work. You know what I mean? So good
that's
question though.
that wow, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. And that I think that's why a lot of people thought this match was kind of boring since it was kind of thrown together the last minute. Like you go, right? Everybody get together. The other thing too that kind of bugged me is I think with Bailey suddenly intruding in it, if let's say it was Bailey who heard Jade, that would have been a perfect time to turn Bailey back heel. I think that would have
Mm.
been ideal, and I think that's also maybe why I'm like a little bit thrown off. I thought maybe a turn could have happened somewhere in the match compared to the men's, which we'll get to later. It felt I felt wanting more out of it at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, I think that was the
Mhm.
general sentiment. And from what I hear, I didn't get to pay as close attention to this, but the classic Naya. I hate to use the term botches at this point. I mean, there was just some miscommunication at some parts. I think I don't know. Was that something that you noticed live, Jose? I think
No,
Naya might
I
have had
just
a
saw
couple
her
of.
hitting with the chair, and luckily enough, with my vantage point, like I saw directly the rings. I couldn't really see the screens, which I guess is a good thing because I guess
Okay.
it makes me focus more on the rings, which is why you're there in the first place.
Mhm.
But honestly, like the chair shots look natural.
Oh,
There you
geez.
go.
I don't know. It's but looking back and I see that and I went, ah, okay,
Mhm.
fair,
Yeah, it
fair
really can
criticism.
change. It really can change if you see it one way live and then you
Oh,
look back on it and the TV
it's
product
yeah.
is like different.
It's such a difference. It's
Yeah.
but I mean again, like it's now that I say I've seen war games in person, it is a lot of fun. It is a fun concept to see in person. That's one to check off the bucket list, I guess, as a WWE fan.
Nice.
But yeah,
Hmm.
I like a lot of those things. I didn't really notice until after because again, I'm there live watching it and I'm more immersed into seeing who's coming down next, how much time is on the clock, and then who's coming in, and then you're also I mean, the camera for the most part on TV, you're focusing mainly on the one ring. I got two to look at.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
I'm seeing the angles that the cameras are not picking up. So it kind of forces you to pay attention left and right, which was a lot of fun. I did have fun with that.
Mhm.
But yeah, felt wanting more out of it, I guess, at the end of the day. But fun to witness in person nonetheless.
Great legacy left behind by Dusty Rhodes. Out of many, many things that he's left behind in this wrestling industry, War Games is one of the best things that he's left us.
Mhm.
Shinsuke Nakamura defeating LA Knight by pinfall and becoming the United States champion. That this is something that you and I, Jose, talked about in the preview last week. That we kind of expected this to happen,
Yes.
Oh,
and I
okay.
and I don't have a problem with it
No.
because I'd like to see LA Knight compete for other titles. I'd like to see him get into other stories, but at the same time, if LA Knight did win, then what would happen with Shin?
Yep.
And I'd say that he would be a lot. The Shin character would be a lot weaker now. So if
Yeah,
he
no,
had won.
branching off of that too, I think I would have to agree with the prediction you guys had coming in because as I was kind of thinking about the match and then watching the hype package, it would have been pointless for the way they were bringing in Shinsuke if he
Yep.
didn't win the title or if he didn't at least dominate. But getting the title made way more sense. And besides, I mean, I hate to say it, but from my vantage point, I feel like LA Knight's cooled off a bit. And if you're gonna, I mean, he's still great with the promos. Crowd still loves him live and everything, no problem. But in terms of as a champ, I feel like he could grow in other ways besides having a title right now. So uh, the right decision by the company, I think. And though I was kind of surprised, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, when I said it last week that Shinsuke has to win, even now, even after I said that, I'm like, will they? There's still that doubt because how many times have we
Yeah,
seen with these big characters getting new gimmicks and new momentum being created and then it just dies. So
right.
naturally, everybody in the stadium, I feel like
War Raiders.
everybody in the arena, even I feel like everybody in the arena wanted that, like predicted that could happen. But then when it did, the reaction was spectacular. Even I'm in my seat going, "Oh snap! I was right. I can't believe
Wow.
that happened." And brilliant. And I looked back at the entrances. I looked back at the entrances, and I've seen a lot of people on social media say LA Knight looked annoyed. And I said, "There's no way,
Huh.
right?" So I looked back, and and I hate to say it, but he did look a little more disgruntled than he usually does in his entrances. Like he has like a walk with like a tough look,
Yeah.
but it did
Okay.
look annoyed. It did look disappointed, even to the point where I didn't even see from my vantage point that he dropped the title going into the ring. He went up to
Oh,
the
okay.
ring
Yeah.
to do his
Two
pose.
times was it? Was it two times?
I think it was once. I didn't see it from my
Anyway,
end
at
because
least once. Yeah.
because I'm behind. I'm facing the TV camera, so I don't see what's directly in that. I can't explain it. But looking back, and he looked annoyed. And my buddy and I, Matt, were saying that if that's the case, oh boy, at the end of the day, you gotta kind of remember you're still a professional at the end of the day. if he was potentially disappointed and annoyed that he was expected to lose the title, he was asked to drop the title, and that's like the look that you come out. It's
I
a
gue-
little
well, I guess
souring
in
a
essence,
little
he,
bit.
he kind of telegraphed it. Then some people might be saying that he telegraphed
Maybe
it a little bit with that.
some people try to kayfabe it and say, well, Nakamura just has his aura. I'm like, I don't know about that.
See, the way I would kayfabe that is the fact that, like, LA Knight has had his number, or Shinsuke has had LA Knight's number, and he's going in there, not with a head of steam, but then with a head of frustration going into the match. And
I hope so.
yeah,
I would love.
that's how I would kayfabe that.
I would love that. Then everyone on social media saying, you can tell he's pissed off. He's about to lose the title because he think he has more to offer, which maybe. But we've said this last week, Lex, and I'm sure Chico's going to agree with us right now. Roman's 4-year reign ruined the image and the perception and expectations of a title reign. When do you lose it? When is it time to lose it? Do you keep going? Do you cut this short? This is another example. He won it back at SummerSlam. We can't keep having these overly long reigns, because it's either people don't get an opportunity or the champion gets a little bland, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Lex is right. LA Knight has so much more to offer than the US title. He's a better chaser, don't get me wrong, but we all know that he can definitely be in line for a world title spot if that is in the cards in the next couple of months. I know the world title team is about to get very busy, but I don't know.
Are you going to ask me if I agree with that?
If you want, yeah, sure, go for it. Do you agree? I realized I
Yeah.
asked a question there. Okay, great. Sorry, I got something caught stuck in my throat.
That's all. I just wanted to say that. So
That's okay.
and Jose
That's
is now
okay.
choking on some fluid.
My throat got dry.
We have lost
LA Knight.
Jose, Lex. We have lost Jose.
The
Oh,
dream.
geez.
Let's move on to Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Braun Breaker defeating, I believe it was Sheamus that did eat the pinfall,
Yes.
and denying Sheamus his Grand Slam championship. But Braun Breaker, WWE Intercontinental Champion, Ludwig Kaiser not involved in the decision. You were clapping just now, Jose, because I'm pretty sure that was a banger of a match.
Oh, that was fun to witness in person.
Mhm.
Oh my
Match of the
god,
night.
that was entertaining at a second. Even my buddy Matt just looking at me, he's like, "Damn!" I'm like, "Welcome to the WWE life." It's spectacular. That was I guess if I'm not counting WarGames matches between the three, brilliant. Just spec. They
Did you see Sheamus's body after?
Oh, I
Did you
did.
see the picture he
Oh,
uploaded?
I did. Oh,
Dang, man.
God bless his soul.
He took a lot of shots.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
did. But super fun. The right choice, by the way. I don't know why I kept thinking that I said Sheamus, but then I was telling Lex last week that we said that LA Knight's reign it's to cut short because you don't want to kill Nakamura's vibe. But ironically, on the flip side, Braun Breaker deserved to continue to be IC champ. I think
Yes,
that's a reign that should have kept going. That was the right call, I think, in my opinion, to keep going, because he's just that good. Not saying that LA Knight isn't good, but Braun Breaker's in a really, really good spot. And I don't think Kaiser or Sheamus had the momentum to take over and carry the IC title. Breaker's in a great spot, and
and
just brilliant.
And he's also and something I've noticed as well is that, like, the reactions that he's been getting. It's like, he comes in as obviously as or just a few months ago he was solidly booed as a heel, but he's just been so good at what he's been doing that, like, people have just caught on, and just like and it feels like, yeah, it feels like it's just almost a natural face turn for him, or organic rather, not natural, but but it's like organic cheers from the crowd. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so. We wolfed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's hard not to make that dog pound sound. So I mean, it's something that'll always work. The woofing, whatever you want to call it, right? The barking, where my dog's at and all that.
It's just, God, it's so funny to do in person. Like, I just look at I look at Matt, just going. At any opportunity, in the whole crowd throughout the night, any opportunity you had a chance to bark, you did it, and everybody, no matter what. So fun. I loved it. Sorry, Chico, continue, but it's so funny. It
No,
cracks
it's
me up.
fine, it's fine. But like I'm saying, it's something that's easy to eat up as a crowd
Yeah.
member, as an audience member, and people in pro wrestling want to be part of the show. So, and that is one that's an easy hook for people. So, I mean, yes, Braun Breaker's kind of a bad guy, but he's one of those tweener guys right now, I think, and I think that's fine. Some people wear both hats at the same time pretty well. Sometimes, for example, you could love or hate CM Punk at any given moment, to be honest with you, even though right now he's definitely got the crowd right in the palm of his hand. But anyway, I mean, holy moly, that was probably my match of the night, and I would probably count all 5 matches. Some people will say the same. I mean, like the men's WarGames match was full of drama, so that was great. The triple threat match, though, man, triple threats sometimes are hard to pull off, but those 3 guys really hit it hard, man. And it also, I think, it elevated Kaiser as well. You know, made him a
Oh
little
my
bit
goodness.
closer to becoming a credible number 2 champ kind of thing.
I would kind of call him the unsung hero, the MVP of that match. Kaiser was incredible. I think it's one of the first few times that I really focused in on Kaiser. I kind of want the belt on him at some point. I'm really getting sold on Kaiser. I think I mean, I knew the promo work was good and the elegance, but even just he's just so natural in the ring. I think that's what impresses me though. He looks like he belongs. It's so fluid. It's like I said, natural. It's like he didn't miss a beat. It felt like he did not miss a beat this past Saturday. He just worked. And so I'm going, go get him. I wouldn't have been mad if it was Kaiser. But
yeah, same.
Again, Breaker was the right call. Really quick note though, Sheamus getting thrown over the barricade. Obviously, I see that from my vantage point that he's rolling around the barricade. Obviously, you guys seen on TV, you only see Kaiser leaning on the barricade and then Sheamus pop up from behind.
Right.
To see Sheamus walk up to that spot and then see his perspective of him climbing up was hilarious. Because we saw it coming. We're like, oh, he's gonna creep up, isn't he? And then as we all saw him creep up, like, there it is, and we all laughed. It looks great on TV, but to see the setup in person is funny. It's so good because you know what's coming, and it's just we all because you know the chops are coming, but yeah, it was really fun. Great thing to experience. That's definitely one of my favorite matches I've seen in person. I don't know if it's like an all-time favorite, but it's up there.
It was very good. Just to close this one, I would say, yes, I would agree with Kaiser at some point has to get probably that title. And then you get your possible giving it to Sheamus for a little bit. Maybe. Because the two of them have built something pretty good. Kaiser versus Sheamus. Like they've had a pretty good back and forth the past few months. So I can also see Sheamus just not getting that IC title ever. Whatever.
I'll go a step further and piggyback off of that, Chico. I think, yeah, maybe that's a good formula. Yeah, Sheamus is going to get it at some point. I don't know when. Actually, I can't say don't be surprised because it may not even happen at all. What I would like to see is Gunther Kaiser at WrestleMania.
That would be fun.
I don't see Gunther dropping it anytime soon. We know that Saturday night's main event is going to cost. He's going to retain it because of what we're about to talk about next. It's so obvious, which is frustrating. I can not that I see Kaiser winning the Rumble, but if that's because I do see him as a world champ. I really, really do. He can sell me as a world champ.
Who?
Kaiser.
Kaiser.
I can see it.
Okay.
And for me, I can see it. I don't know if many people will, but I would see that happen because I don't know. I mean, again, like usually the whole teammates implode. Maybe kind of is a good trope for WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, brother.
Yeah, sure, that one.
Yeah, handshake. Didn't work with the Usos though.
So that's maybe I'll see that down the road. I hope to see it down the road. I hope to see Kaiser challenging Gunther because I don't see Gunther dropping this anytime soon as well, which is a great time.
What do you mean? You don't want Gunther versus Goldberg at WrestleMania in Vegas? What?
Oh God, no!
Holy crap! Like soda.
Please don't ever say Goldberg again. It's like remember,
it could happen.
Goldberg is our Beetlejuice over here. Okay. You don't
say his name 3 times.
Oh no! It's for me. It's not a Beetlejuice. You go ahead, say his name. But what the heck, Chico? That's where I'm coming off of this. What in the world?
It's not out of nowhere. You know, it's not out of nowhere. They had an on-screen spat, and they're gonna need an attraction at some point. Sorry,
Yes,
they might.
Chico.
Sorry, they might not need an attraction, but they might want to use an attraction.
There you go, folks. Live on Saga 960 AM. Chico has been caught hook, line, and sinker to that 20-second interaction on Monday Night Raw, and he's set on it for the future. There it is, folks. You heard it live.
Well,
Oh
Goldberg
my
also
word.
said he's gonna retire in a match in 2025. So I mean, it's got to be Gunther.
Lex, go
He
to the
said
next
that,
topic.
and
Go to the
Cole-
next topic.
And Cole acknowledged it.
Forgot about that.
Guys,
Maybe.
Jose
Well,
just
we have
doesn't
been
want
talking
it,
about
which is
Gunther,
fine.
and before we, we have been talking about Gunther these past couple of minutes over here. But before we go to break, let's go into his match over here against Damian Priest, whom, Gunther did retain the World Heavyweight Championship. It was the story of the ring general versus the streets. I mean, I enjoyed the match for what it was and everything, and of course, Finn Balor coming in and screwing over Damian Priest as well is always going to work for their storyline of the Judgment Day and the former members of the Judgment Day. Tell me about what you guys think.
Slow match. I mean,
Uh-huh.
my mindset the whole time was give me the War Games, which
Yep.
sucks. And I think especially because they had to follow the triple threat.
Mhm.
It like I knew it was gonna be a slower technical match because that's just the way that Priest and Gunther especially work. It was too slow. And the Priest thing was, I mean, it was exciting to see him run through the crowd, but at the end of the day, looking back, you're going, why? It was a carbon copy of SummerSlam's finish. And the reason why I say Gunther, I know Gunther's gonna retain him because you know that not this Saturday, but the following Saturday's Saturday night's main event, you know that Priest is gonna screw Finn. It's formulaic. You know he's gonna get involved in that somehow, and I don't see why we need to continue it, I guess. So the match was fine. I'm not gonna say it was like the worst one of the night. I don't know what would be,
I
but
don't think there was a worst. It just
I don't think so either.
but compared to the other three matches, I would agree it was a little bit less because of the predictability of it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was that, but it didn't really. I wasn't really getting hype over it in my seat again because I knew what was coming up next.
Right.
So,
And that's already with the added ingredient of the excitement of being in person. But even on TV, I mean, or on streaming rather, it was just rinse, repeat, recycle, whatever. Like we've seen it before, and also, like Balor costing Priest is also repeated. So there was a lot of stuff that was. I mean, we've mentioned predictability on the show before, but this is one of those times when it's predictable but boring. To
oh
me,
yeah,
mostly, and that's no dog in the workers because the workers are gonna work and they have top notch workers in WWE. It's just storyline wise, man. I was not into this one at all. I think we all knew where it was going, and it went there. So that was that.
Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM. We're going to take our break here. When we come back, we will get into War Games and a little bit of the fallout and what we can look forward to as we head into SmackDown with the Bloodlines. With the Bloodlines on SmackDown, yeah. This is Ringside Heat, back after these promotional considerations.
Tell me I'm wrong, but if we just walk away, we'll be giving in. Tell me I'm wrong, but if we just walk away.
Ringside Heat on Newstalk Saga 960 AM, Lex10 at Lex10 Media. Follow the show at Ringside_Heat, joined by Jose Tabuada at Tabuada93, our director of digital content, and of course, Coco Collects, at Coco Collects rather, Chico Nugent, who is our wrestling memorabilia expert. And it is time to get into the main event of Survivor Series War Games, the men's War Games match. The original Bloodline defeating the new Bloodline by pinfall, and a lot of meat off the bones over here, because this match was obviously the big story of the night, obviously for I guess 99% of the WWE universe, if not 100.
First things first, I think the more obvious thing to get out of the way, which is ironic because the last time the three of us were in an episode together, we argued about this topic. Injuries. I hope Bronson Reed and Jimmy Uso have speedy recoveries. It looks like it's for Bronson Reed, it looks like it's a severe ankle injury.
That's
And
not cool.
seeing the slow motion on the tsunami off the top of the cage, which again, a sight to see in person, but I saw the slow motion, those ankles snapped. It did
Oh.
not look good. It
Both,
did not,
you
it
think?
didn't, but I think it's both. But for
Ooh.
sure the right. For sure the right. So one, I hope he's okay. And then two, apparently Jay said it during the press conference that he broke his toe. And looking back at the clip, again, that was also an awkward landing, which don't hear that every day. So again, speedy recovery to the both of them.
Mhm.
And I definitely know it's not kayfabe. It's definitely know it's not kayfabe because
Oh,
Both
yeah.
because
of those
again, like
were
because again, you
bad
look,
landing.
especially Bronson and landing, and ironically, this is what happened to Adam Copeland and AEW. Those top spots are tough as heck.
Mhm.
They're not easy, and I think especially with CM Punk diving out of the way, I don't know how safe or smart it would have been to go chest or stomach first onto the table. It's tough. I don't know how you really, when I feel like the only solution are your knees. I guess I don't know, but
Well,
speedy
I mean,
recovery
look,
to him.
this kind of to 5-star it out and spread the impact onto your whole body, I think was what he was intending. But I think he just didn't rotate forward enough because it really did land a lot on his ankles. Like
It did,
I
yeah. I
checked
think
out the
Mhm.
replays too, and he didn't rotate enough forward. I don't think when he
yeah,
landed.
definitely the rotation. I don't know if the table was too far. I think the
Maybe.
table was in a good spot. Maybe if it was like a tiny bit more in towards the turnbuckle, I think he would have been fine. I don't know, but nonetheless, speedy recovery to them.
Yeah, I
Especially
wish him
Bronson.
speedy recovery too. I will say, just to comment on the other side of that particular spot, man, could CM Punk have waited any closer of a time to do the salvage spot to save
Yeah.
Roman? That was the
Whew.
timing was ridiculously good. It was
Oh,
too good almost. Like, man,
um,
those two really like hit that timing really well.
and speaking about CM Punk, and again, this is the tough part from my vantage point, is that he couldn't really see the full faces of Roman and CM Punk in the middle of the confrontation. Obviously, you see, Punk getting blocked by Roman for Sammy to come out. Obviously, you see CM Punk running, charging ahead for Roman, ahead of Roman to be the fourth entrant for his team. But the facial expressions throughout the whole thing was great. Even from my vantage point, I somehow didn't really see CM Punk, which is hilarious, shoving Bronson Reed in the cage during his entrance, which was so funny. It was hilarious. Apparently, it was improvised. I don't know what to believe anymore these days. No, but again, like Chico was saying earlier, brilliant storytelling across this match. Just everything that branched out was just so good. That was super entertaining to watch in person as
I
well.
I'm gonna say I was very surprised. Not very. I was a little surprised, maybe even a little disappointed that it was such a neat ending. It's the ultimate ending spot where all the good guys got in their finishers on the main antagonist, and then the main good guy versus the main bad guy gets the 1 2 3. Super clean, the cleanest way you could finish that match.
Yeah.
I thought that because they did that, they would transition to something else. And so I kept looking for, I kept asking Lex, like, as we were streaming, I was like, so is that it? Is that it? Are they going to
That's how do
pop
you
up
think
the
I felt?
credit and then have someone else? You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: here's the thing. Now we see it in context with what was happening on Monday Night Raw. Now, here's the thing. First of all, as much as it was fun to watch, and in the moment, if you were just to take it as a match as it is, yes, it was fun. It was a fun match overall. Fun finish as well with the with that. But where do you, first of all, number one, where do you take the Solo Sokoa character, and what do you do with the rest of the bloodline, the new bloodline? But at the same time, Monday Night Raw, when they opened up with CM Punk and Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins tying so many different storylines together, which include the bloodline
and Jay too, I
and
think was
Jay,
involved
yeah,
in that.
In a
Yeah,
sense, yeah. Oh, well,
yeah,
yeah. He came out to kind of split them up,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
would say so. Yeah.
but then
Hot
yeah, it's
opener.
yeah, how all of that fits together now in that sort of context. I can see I can see how that branches out for a bunch of other stories for people that are not in the bloodline, but then or directly at least. But yeah, it's what do you do with what do you do with the Tongans? What do you do with with Solo now? Because
That's
now they look now they look weak.
that's what
Does
we were
Jacob
saying
still
last
love
week,
him?
Lex.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, Jacob Fatu is always going to look strong.
I'm pretty sure everybody in the crowd just yelled out, "I love
I
you,
love you
Solo." I tried to start a "He loves Solo," but I think I was too far up. I think I was too far up, but I really hope I got that going. Yeah, that's what Lex and I said last week in our preview. That was my concern with this, and I guess in hindsight, maybe I should have anticipated that the good guys were going to prevail. Very superhero-ish. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe I'm at fault for wanting more for Solo, ironically, somehow. And I hate
No, you're
saying that.
not. I'm in the boat with you. I think, to be honest with you, I think the new bloodline kind of needed it more.
Yeah,
Because the good guys didn't really they'll be fine. They're Teflon. They can continue. They could twist it all sorts of different ways to Mania.
yeah, of course. And like Lex said, the win worked out in the sense that again, like everything that opening segment on Raw. Thank God I caught it on the plane. I started live streaming Raw on the plane before the Wi-Fi went to hell. So I caught that, and yeah, I was just so happy, and I'm like, oh, this is the WWE that I remember as a kid. Just the enticement to reel you in, and I remember so many people complaining on social media, even among my friends, before last week's SmackDown, or I think last week's Raw, was like, where's Rollins to be upset that Punk was in the WarGames match? And a lot of people saying, well, this is kind of dumb, this is kind of pointless. Literally had to wait a week.
Yeah,
And
just a
there
couple
is
more
where you
days.
pick up from there.
Yep.
Which again, I just thought was brilliant. So but the match was great. The match was phenomenal. Every singing the cult of personality was a blast.
Oh, yeah.
I was telling Chico, I was telling Lex before we went to recording. So I'm recording the entrances because my buddy was really excited to yeet. And Roman came out instead. We're like, oh snap! I guess Yeet is the last. Yeet. I guess Jay is the last person to come out. And so everybody had their ones up. So I look at him, and he was just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, "Put your ones up, boy." He put the ones up. And so put your ones up, boy. He's like, oh, okay, sorry. And it's so funny. But yeah, that was fun to witness in person. And yeah, sorry, I'm all ranting here, but Chico, to go what you said, right? While you guys were streaming, is this the end? I texted my group chat. I texted my buddy David. Is the show over? Because again, and this is where we spoke about at the start of the show. Where was the big surprise? Where was the oh my god moment? No heel turn, no Heyman heel turn, which a lot of people predicted because he wore Solo's outfit when he
Yeah.
came back. No
Yes.
Rock, because
None.
maybe the Rock had to set up something with Roman for Las Vegas and at WrestleMania 41. Nothing there. The pyro went off, and again, I'm sitting in my seat going, "We out?
And
We out?" And again, like, you already knew that you were out, right? I didn't. I had to wait, I think, another 5 minutes until my friends told me, until David told me, no, we're out. I'm like, what? And I don't want to say that because there was no surprise, that means the show wasn't bad. I had a blast at the show. I maybe give it a 4 out of 5, maybe. I don't think it was a perfect night, but I hate that we got catered to surprises in that sense. I know, ironically, we were begging for surprises over the last few years, but again, CM Punk's return was so big at Survivor Series, and it felt like it set the tone for this year. We're all going, "What's this year's CM Punk?" And I left with pyro and I said goodnight.
But that's and here's the thing too. I guess if I want to defend WWE's booking decision not to give a surprise on Survivor Series WarGames night, the just bringing back CM Punk and putting him in the Bloodline match already the week before in order to help sell that match, that was already, I think that was the surprise that that WWE had for us, so that when they did go and finish off Survivor Series, it's at least it gives you that wanting for more, and that's and when you are putting
That
together
would
a
be the
show,
hope.
if you can leave them wanting more, like they left all of us wanting more, I think that it's a really I think they made it a success that way. However, I know that there are other people out there who want that surprise and don't see it that way. So
Yeah, I don't want people to think that the show suddenly sucked because of it. I've seen some people say it was kind of anticlimactic. Hard disagree, and I'm not saying that just because I was there live. But I do want to open up this question to you guys, because this is a question that I start to see circulate a lot.
okay.
Do you retire the War Games gimmick and bring back a traditional Survivor Series match? Because a lot of
Ooh.
people were saying, I've seen a lot of people saying that because of how rushed the women's War Games match was put together, it would have made more sense to bring back a traditional 5-on-5.
See,
And
I had
it's
thoughts on that actually. And I wanted of course, the men's War Games match made total sense. When you have a
absolutely.
story, that match is so good. But it wouldn't have hurt to do one of each, to be honest with you. I think the
Yeah,
women
yeah.
could have had the elimination.
I think that's the format that maybe they should go to now, so it doesn't feel oversaturated. Because we complained about Hell in a Cell as the yearly pay-per-view gimmick. We've complained about Elimination Chamber, but we're not complaining on March 1st, 2025, by the way. No, we love it. We're very happy it's happening on March 1st, 2025. Absolutely. We're stoked. War Games is starting to creep up to that level. And it's
Yeah.
scary because it is such a fun match. It's such a cool thing to witness. But I don't want people to start saying that. So I would be okay if, let's say, next year, and it's not going to happen, but next year they go back to a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series matches, and then maybe develop stories that way, and maybe keep War Games for something special. Like, imagine War Games at, I don't know, a SummerSlam or something. Like for night 1 and night 2, for example, night 1 and night
Right.
2. Night 1 is just one ring, but then night 2 they have to set up a second ring, reduce
Wow.
seating, and then cause that. I mean, okay, actually, no, that sounds like a Ticketmaster. Hell. But
I see what you
I'm
mean.
just-
Like, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's run its course quite yet. But unless you have a story that makes sense to use a War
Yeah.
Games match, then maybe lay off of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be what the men get, the women get automatically. Let's make it
Exactly.
make sense.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would I would have a critique about, if you have the traditional elimination match versus and the War Games match at the same night, it seems like one of them is going to feel like a consolation prize.
That's the problem. Yep.
And it's going to be the
Should be.
5-on-5 elimination bit, which would be the consolation prize for whatever. And I know how that looks like in terms of optics, or at least I think that does not look good in terms of optics if one of them gets turned into the oh, here you go, because we didn't have much to do with you, basically. And
See, but then it would have given the women, I think, more ways to interact than just like, oh, just for the sake of having a 5-on-5 War Games. I think it would have benefited the way they had their stories in place. That's just my reasoning for it.
okay,
I think it could have just been 1 and 1. I don't think it would have been bad on either. I think the optics would have been just fine. I just think it would have made more sense given the way the stories were for the women.
That's fair.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I think Chico's right. I think that's 100%.
All right. I don't know how much time we have left in this broadcast, but
We
you
have,
better
like- we
leave
have,
some
like, a
room for
minute.
New Day.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? For those of you who are listening on the radio right now, we are going to continue the conversation in podcast form, which will be dropping in just a few minutes. So if you want us to hear if you want to hear us talk about the New Day and the segment that happened for the 10th anniversary between Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston, because that is some juicy meat on the bones that we need to pick at. But we're going to do that in the podcast version. We have to end the show right here on the radio because we're out of time. But that leaves me to thank Jose Tabata at Tabata93, your director of digital content. We've got Chico at Coco Collects, the wrestling memorabilia collector and expert on that, so on all of those issues. And as well, myself, host and producer of the show at Lex10 Media. That's where you can follow me on all social media. Follow at Ringside_Heat on all of the social media platforms we have. We have YouTube, we have Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and patreon.com/ringsideheat. Pick up John Dawson's album Outlier at johndawsonmusic.myshopify.com and stream it wherever you get your music. This is Ringside Heat, and we remember the things that you probably forgot.
And welcome to the podcast version.
Yes, that's right.
Oh my gosh, Monday night, man.
Mhm.
I have not seen a show that top to bottom was hot like that in a long time. I mean, it
No.
was just about
Yeah.
a complete
Mhm.
show.
And again, I don't know how Lex feels. I think we literally are just gonna go straight into this right after
Sure.
I
Lex.
think we already
Whatever
are.
you wanna
Right
do,
after
man.
Lex. Okay, just want to be sure. We don't mean to. I didn't mean to actually overtake.
Well, you pretty
Chico's-
much you just jumped into it too. So
Yeah,
that's on me. This
yep.
one's on me. No, my God, that was one of the best Raws I've seen in a long time.
Mhm.
Oh man, okay. Look, listen to my situation on the plane. On the plane ride
Oh,
home.
yeah.
The
I was wondering about this.
we had free Wi-Fi on the plane, which is great.
That's
Porter
amazing.
Airlines, super cool. But unfortunately, when you have free Wi-Fi, that means everybody's on it. And
Right.
Yeah.
and my Wi-Fi decided to cut out right when Kofi and Xavier were coming out. So I had to wait.
Aw.
I waited. I was fighting with the Wi-Fi for an hour. For an hour.
Whew.
Eventually I got it. Eventually I saw the whole segment, and then I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop it right after this, and whatever happens after on Raw, I'll catch it tomorrow because I
Sure.
know I'm gonna get home super late. I flew in midnight. I came to Toronto midnight time. And got home like at 12:30. But yeah, it's like Chico said, one of the best Raws I've seen in a while. The opening segment was so enticing, but obviously the reason why Lex initiated a please hang on and listen to the podcast or go to YouTube or whatever
Mhm.
is because of the New Day. And what a swerve that nobody had that heel turn going the way that it played out. Nobody,
Yeah.
not a
Mhm.
damn soul. And I can't believe they went that route. We got the heel New Day that maybe everybody wanted. I can't say that because they were heel when they started, but how do you explain that? How do you explain that, Chico?
It was.
Lex?
I mean, it was a great. It was. I thought it was a really, really, really good swerve in terms of the characters because over the past few months we've been teased that Kofi and Woods were the ones who were going to be volatile and break up and have a match against each other and everything. But they swerved us by, turning on Big E. And do I think that the things that they were saying to Big E were justified? Absolutely not. And that's what makes them a really good heel. A really good heel turn,
man.
because here's Big E
broke
saying
my
like,
neck,
I'm
man.
not
It was
around
heartbreaking.
because I have a broken freaking neck. And then Woods is and Woods is like, but you didn't have to have surgery. I needed surgery for my Achilles. Oh, what?
How
Wait,
dare
even
you?
Kofi.
How dare you get in a healthy relationship, you sick
Yeah.
monster? How dare that you are happy in your life and not think about us? Screw you, Biggie. Get out of the ring. I cannot believe that's what they basically said. And that
I
right
also-
there is the recipe for a heel. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah. I can't believe that I heard the words in this order of you broke your neck, so what? Kofi, man.
Stone Cold
What
broke his
the-
neck and he came back. Kurt Angle broke his
Yeah,
neck and he came
yeah,
back.
he went-
Edge
Hey,
broke
you
his
know
neck
that.
and he came back.
You broke your neck, so what? Oh my goodness. Can't believe
I
it.
do want to say so what I do want to say that I was telling some friends that because I don't think we talked about it enough on Ringside because of the schedule with with the AEW pay-per-view and then other stuff going on. I was thinking that in the middle of that Woods Kofi rivalry that Kofi was going to be the swerve instead and not Woods, 'cause it
Yeah,
was
right.
too obvious.
That could have
I
happened.
felt like
Could have
I felt like it was too obvious that it was Woods. Okay, Woods is being the complete obvious choice for the heel. Let Kofi snap. And I thought it would have made sense because justified heels are apparently a thing these days, like Kevin Owens. Hey,
Mhm.
your friend is making outrageous claims about you. Screw him.
Drew.
Turn him heel, right?
Yep.
And to get what we did was again, swerves are fun. Surprises are fun, like we just said on the radio version of the show.
Mhm.
That was just so brilliant. And again, the heels that are just so irrational. And again, my friend Matt now, who's gonna start watching on a regular basis, I hooked him. I got him. I got one, folks. I got him, boys. I got him. He was like, Jose, this is so stupid. Like they're being so irrational. And I'm like, kayfabe. You're welcome.
Isn't it fun?
I just
Got 'em.
did like I did like a fishing hook. I'm like, oh, they got you. Reel you back and they
Yeah.
got you. That's all I did. Because it was just talking like he's like, this makes no sense. This is so stupid. I'm like, yes, my child. Yes, my prodigy. Yes. Let the hate
But
flow
how do
through
you
you.
feel about it?
So it was so funny to see Matt just react the way that he did with the whole thing. I'm like, okay, this is what I love when you're interacting with new fans because they get so into it. And that was a perfect example of like how you know that it just makes no sense. And it's true. The heel turn in kayfabe, so petty. So beautifully petty. I don't know what else to say
And
about
yet
it. It was
it's
so
not
good.
like it's not a far extension of things that do make sense. Like they turned what they have in terms of facts and all that stuff and made it just zany enough for you to friggin' hate their guts. Because man,
Mhm.
I thought it would be near impossible to turn Kofi and Woods into bona fide heels,
More
but
Kofi than
they
Woods.
did it.
More
Yes,
Kofi
it's
than
true.
Woods.
That's true. But they did it, and they did it effectively. And now I cannot wait to see them on this heel run. Like I'm tuned in, man.
My other big takeaway from this, aside from the memes that we've seen, like the one of my favorite tweets I've seen all day today was maybe Brock Lesnar deserved to be Kofi in 6 seconds, which I thought was fantastic. I thought that was so
That was-
funny.
wow.
Of course, I shared that in the group. I shared that in our Ringside group chat, and Colin immediately
Oh yeah,
the
button
Brock
push.
Lesnar fan that he is. No, that was unjust. I'm like, there goes the meme. The takeaway that I got from this is that a return's coming for Big E. Like it's imminent. I don't think you pull this trigger if Big E. Well, okay, maybe you do actually because they're just petty as heck.
You could, but
Mhm.
But
I see where you're going.
I do genuinely think that there's because obviously you're gonna want to see Big E now get his revenge. That's your
Yeah.
next as a fan of as somebody supposed to cheer on the faces, you cheer on your heroes. Your next thought is I hope Big E kicks their asses. And if your thoughts coming into that mind, considering the severity of Big E's injury, then that means that I think there's something in the works that maybe Big E is close to being cleared. And I think the Royal Rumble would be a great time to show that he's okay
Sure.
and ready to go. I
Mhm.
think the
Sure.
Rumble is always going to be a safe bet for
Mhm.
that. Imagine Kofi and Woods dominating the Rumble in the early stages, and then number 12 is Big E coming out to kick their asses. Game on. So that
And
would
it-
be my next. I hope that he got cleared. Or he's about
And here's the thing: if what gives your thought credence over here, at least in my mind, is that Woods even said as one of his second last lines of the promo is it's like, let's tell him the truth, E, you're never going to be medically cleared.
Oh, ouch.
Exactly. So
And so I mean, like, and that's believable because we saw because we saw live on TV how bad that injury was and how
That was
bad that could have
terrible.
been, and the fact that like they actually made light that he didn't need surgery in order to in order to recover. At least that's what the storyline says, right?
has it really been 4 years?
It's
I
been
think
a
so.
while, man. It's been a while
Commentary
since
commentary was saying 4 years when Big E came out. I'm like, I thought it was 2.
Let's see. Let's
well,
I
I would believe them. I mean, 2020 was all sorts of crazy, but
but it was with fans.
maybe
But
yeah. Maybe it was more 3 years or something like that. But yeah, it doesn't feel like that long.
Yeah, it was.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up. Continue,
Yeah,
Lex, if you found it first. Yeah.
Big E is set to make his first appearance in next to his New Day friends Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods since he was ruled out indefinitely with a serious neck injury back on March 11th, 2022.
Yeah. So I don't know why I think it was Joe Tessitore, or I think it was Barrett said 4 years. I'm like, 4 years. He wasn't out that long.
Couldn't have.
Um, I thought it was
no.
2
It
years.
was definitely after the pandemic, so it wasn't during Thunderdome.
No, it wasn't.
But
No,
yeah,
it was definitely with fans on a SmackDown for sure. It can have been more than 3, I would say. 3 and a
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah,
maybe at
he
the most.
thankfully avoided surgery, but obviously severe enough that there was doubts about him wrestling again. And
Yeah.
again, for Xavier Woods to tackle that was one of the funniest things I've heard in a while. It's the heartbreak was real in the crowd and on social media.
And on
It's just
Biggie's face, I'm gonna say he sold that so well. He
art.
he even stuttered because he couldn't find the words to retaliate with how mean these comments were. Like he was just so taken aback by all of it that he couldn't find the words, because some people I think wanted him to respond to them about something that he could also say about them. I can't remember exactly what it was. Uh, oh gosh, I can't remember what it was, but there was this good comment by like a caller on a different show that he could have like thrown one of their comments right back in their face right away, but then you got the effective heel turn by Big E selling it like he couldn't find the words, and it's believable too.
I mean,
So
who wouldn't if you heard one of your friends say that, right?
yeah,
If
I
you're getting kicked
would
out of a
be
group,
reeling for a while. I wouldn't be able to find the right words if I was him too, because
I'd react the same way.
He's like such a big-hearted guy.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and this is like a genuine thing that people know about him. He's just, so kind of a human being, like a gentle giant. Unlike his girlfriend and her tweets back to Woods and Kofi, hilarious.
What a supportive woman. What a supportive woman, folks. Find you somebody like her. Oh my lord.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
I,
some of those
I hope she
tweets-
doesn't actually prepare bland meals. I mean, that's just
Oh,
all
what
kayfabe,
did I
obviously, but it's
what
so
did I
funny.
send in the group that was so funny? It was just, oh no, sorry, you sent it, Chico, because I forgot to send to you guys. You
I
sent me
forgot.
the same quote that I was sending to other friends. If the biggest achievement of my 10 plus year was a Burger King crown, I'd be a hating ass bitch too.
Yeah, that's right. That's what she tweeted. That was the big one that got forwarded. So good.
There's so many um examples on it, and again, a very very supportive, loving girlfriend. Absolutely, very very supportive.
Or if ever, I bet she's just like, you know what? If you peel back the curtain, maybe it's like, okay, Austin Creed, I'm just gonna give you my password. You tweet for me. It's just so good.
And you know what? I like that idea of like E's girlfriend, E's real life non kayfabe girlfriend, actually like getting involved in this way, and it reminds me of the ways that MJF's parents just totally crap on him any chance they get. It's
So
great,
funny.
and it's fun. It's fun to see that because obviously they know there's genuine love and care for one another, but they're in on the kayfabe, they're in on the joke,
I
they're in
love it.
on they're in on the character, and that's and what support? That's amazing support from from your family who's been with you on this ride for all these years.
We spoke about again, the Biggie's girlfriend saying that she was gonna make cook meals, and she made fun of Kofi Kingston being a vegan, and Xavier was being picky, and Xavier Woods
We're having
says
like a
looks like
childish taste palette.
looks like yeah, thank you. Looks like a dodge a bullet not having to pretend to enjoy a bland ass meal, and she replied, the meal would have to be as bland as your singles run to accommodate your underdeveloped taste buds.
Ooh!
Ooh, child. Oh man.
Again, like just murdered. I do want to open up this discussion with you guys, by the way. I do
Sure.
want to open this up because again, I always hear these really good topics, and I need to get your guys' thoughts here on the show. One friend was saying that okay, this is going to be a heel tag team, no doubt about it, and it's true, right? This is
Yeah.
like we have another variation of a New Day heel, but also as well, these two have been a tag team for literally a decade. Do you agree that while this heel turn is happening, that both of them individually get their own strong heel presence and heel character going, so then they can go for those title for a singles run if necessary? Or
I
does
think
it have to be strictly a tag team heel?
No, well, here's the thing. They've already have, at least when it came to E and when it came to Kofi, they've already established some good face. I guess. Yeah, good face characters apart from the New Day, but then still um
Able to come together.
integrated, yeah, with it, integrated with the New Day. And I see the same thing can happen with Kofi and with Woods, especially for Woods because he's the only one who has not reached the pinnacle, the summit of the mountain yet. So I think if they play their cards right with Woods, they can do the same thing, but for but for their heel characters.
And I think that's my slight worry with this tag team, with the surprise heel turn, because again, I know I said I think Kofi would have been great, but also Woods needs to prove that singles run, because I think we've all saw it in TNA. When he was Austin Creed, I would have rather, yeah, I really want to see Xavier shine in a singles opportunity. He never got it. He
Mhm.
never got it, and I'm sure, maybe would not be surprised. And I think this goes to anybody. As much as you love to see your friends getting all the accolades and getting all the moments, I know you're most likely gonna ask yourself, maybe I can have that one day.
Mhm.
Maybe I can like experience that as well, so they can support me. I'm sure Xavier would have wanted that 100%. I know King of the Ring was big, but in that King of the Ring, when he got it, didn't even have a title shot like it used to be in the 90s, which now it does.
Mhm.
Heck, if I was Xavier, one of the first things I do is can I get a retroactive title shot or something like that? I don't know, but that's like kind of like my tiny fear with this tag team heel, is that Xavier could be limited again, but I hope not, and I hope that maybe they find opportunities to be singles and get a single run.
Well, here's the thing. From what we have, at least from what I've ascertained from years of watching, 10 years of watching the New Day, and you yourself, Jose, witnessing Kofi Mania at WrestleMania 35, and one of my favorite backstage segments that I've seen in WWE, and I think this is ever, just the three of those guys. Yes, still sort of in character, but more themselves, basically Ettore and Austin Watson and whatever Kofi Kingston's real name is. I forgot. But to see them actually, like, you
He's
could
Jamaican, isn't he?
yeah, well,
What happened to his accent? Anyway, go on. Please finish your point.
is that like the way that they were talking, that it was a victory for all of them, and both
That's true.
and for E and Kofi, they were saying, like, if there's anybody who's responsible for Kofi being champion, it's Xavier. It's he's the one who had this idea, brought us together, and brought this forward. So and so when I'm thinking about that, I also have this thought that those three will find a way to work together and to work work things out, so that it will make Xavier heel or face, doesn't matter. They'll find a way to put something together so that they can have him ascend to the top of the mountain, in the same way that they came together to help E get it, and for Kofi to get it as well.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think even at least an IC title run or something. I need
Sure.
to see what Xavier can do with the title, because not a tag title, or we're done with the tag. We already seen
Man.
what he can do as a tag champ.
Well, what I love about this double heel turn as well, which again, one of the best surprises I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
In WWE or in pro wrestling entirely. It freshens things up. They to me, they're gonna stay a duo, but they can split off and come back whenever the storyline
That's what it
needs
looks
them
like.
to.
Yeah.
I think that they're getting basically just like Lex said, it's like the New Day has been for the last 10 years, except just heels. At least the two of them. And I like that. It freshens, because I had this thought several times the past few weeks that WWE for a little while has been kind of face heavy and needs like stronger heels
Yeah.
in terms of the top. And I think we're going to get that with both of those guys. I don't think we get just one strong heel. I think we get two strong top tier heels.
I think it's
potentially.
established already that they're top tier. I mean,
There
that
you go.
was
Yeah.
impactful. It reminds me, a lot of people were saying that we're just gonna hit on the level of the Festival of Friendship with Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, and it did.
Okay,
It-
yeah, it did.
You are going to remember this turn 5 years from now, like how you
Yes.
remember the Festival of Friendship. That's what it was called, right? The Festival of
Yes,
Friendship.
it was.
Yes,
Great
it
name.
was.
Great segment.
Brilliant name. But
Yeah.
again, we still remember Chris Jericho sadly looking at the list. How come my name is on this? And you're gonna remember Big E saying, "So that's it after 10 years." Like, you're
Yeah,
gonna remember
yeah.
that. You're gonna remember all of it. And that's
The
what
look on
makes
his
it
face,
exciting.
man.
Mhm.
It
And
propels
here's the
Kevin Owens, and now it's gonna and now it'll prepare. I think it'll propel Kofi and Xavier.
And exactly, and this doesn't have to, be a quick thing either. This can build a lot over
Oh,
the
Yes.
next
you're gonna
year.
have to. You're gonna have
And I mean, and what I can see, I guess, in this preliminary phase right now, once Xavier gets the title, then and has his heel run, that's something that's when you can start introducing E if he is ever going to be medically cleared, and hopefully, and if he wants to wrestle again, we hope that he gets that opportunity if that's what he wants. But that's when you can bring in E to be that antagonist to Kofi and Xavier Woods as heels.
protagonist.
Well,
I think.
protagonist. There you go.
Yeah.
Protagonist. Yes. To be the protagonist of the story and make sure that and that's how you can set up something with them and it still brings them together somehow. Maybe it even happens before before he gets the title or something like that. I don't know, but there's a lot that can happen with these three. They've shown that they can milk for 10 years a face gimmick. I'm sure they can do an extended run as heels, as at least two of the three heels.
Enough said.
Yep.
Mhm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. And yes, so so Kofi's actual name is his first name is actually Kofi.
Oh,
Huh, go
Yeah.
figure.
okay.
Yeah, so Ettore, Kofi, and Austin.
There you go.
There you go.
Those are their three actual names.
You learned something new today, folks.
Mhm.
Remember this.
It's
Remember
something-
this for
yeah.
a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
remember
something
the
that
thing,
you probably forgot.
Yeah,
I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yep, we're on Ringside Heat podcast version over here, and
There you
yeah, a lot of meat on the bones over here that we're going to be talking about. I'm sure we're going to be talking about it in the weeks and months to come when it comes to the New Day. But if you have anything that you want to add to this conversation, make sure that you reach out to us at our social media platforms at ringside_heat, patreon.com/ringside heat, which is on the bottom of your screen if you're watching on YouTube, but you're also on Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads for those of you who are listening to the podcast version of this. That's Jose to my right. That's Chico just below me over here. And I'm Lex. This was episode 163 of Ringside Heat bonus content. And yeah, tune in. If you want to listen to the first part of this, of course, you can always go back and listen to us anytime on the internet. But if you want to, help our ratings out, you can tune in and listen to the repeat at 7 p.m. on Sundays, which has been our traditional time over the past 4 years. But of course, our new time slot that we got to tell you about, Wednesday afternoons at 2 p.m. on Saga 960 AM, daytime wrestling talk. What could be better? Yeah. I was about to say something to follow that up, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna have to. I gotta give it up to the masters of. You gotta give it up to the masters, Bully Ray and company over there. But that's free advertising for them, and I don't want to give any more. So let's end this before I give free advertising to Taker and the rest of them. Anyway,
That's a lot of podcasts. Take it home,
Yeah.
buddy.
yeah, Ringside Heat. We remember the things that you probably forgot.